self-destructive men, insecure men, men who hate themselves will absolutely punish you for loving them because they can't comprehend what the hell is wrong with you. What is wrong with you? Why do you love them when they don't love themselves? This picture is so telling. This is them in a nutshell. Make yourself bend down to his level. Look, I'm not that much taller than you. And she didn't always do that. I love that at least she didn't have, like, at least with Tom, she stood tall, unlike with Tom. What was it? She could finally wear heels again. But I swear to God, when women ask how tall you are, it is not because it's not always because they want someone taller than them. Although we've been conditioned to like blah, 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 whatever. It is because so many women have terrible experiences with men shorter. Because it takes a very confident short man to be able to love a woman who loves him when he hates himself for his height because he's probably been bullied before it his whole life. By men especially. Women too, girls, whatever. He, she, they, like shorter boys get made fun of, but no more than all the things that girls and women are made fun of regularly. The beauty standard is way harsher on women and femmes. But this dude didn't even like her in the beginning. So yesterday I did a short video and a long version of all of the red flags within her that made her in a really terrible place to be dating, because she, again, was lonely. She had an Oscar. She really just wanted she wanted a man. She wanted a man. Very relatable. There's nothing wrong with wanting love and companionship, but men will destroy your life. The wrong one will. And it's so hard to find a man who is truly confident, who has done the work on himself to not hate himself, not feel super entitled to women because of patriarchal conditioning, while at the same time knowing secretly, way deep down, that he doesn't deserve you. It's like really hard to live with these two realities. Like, I'm a piece of crap who doesn't deserve women, but I deserve a woman because they told me I'm the best. Same thing operates with whiteness. So white people and white women especially get so jealous. It's like, wait, I'm the beauty standard. What the hell? What the hell? Deep down, we're like, it doesn't make sense, but they told me it does. They told me I'm the prize, so aren't I the prize? Anyway, that's another video. Men under patriarchy are conditioned that no matter how much they suck, no matter how much they haven't worked for any of this, no matter, like, literally every loser in movies gets the girls. The jocks get the girls. Revenge of the Nerds, they get the girls. Like, everyone gets the girl. For what? Just existing. Because they're all entitled to a woman, even if they don't like a woman, even if they don't like women, aren't attracted to them. They're all taught they should want them and that they are entitled to one for doing nothing. And so when a man who is literally shorter and also not nearly a giant in the industry gets with a woman like this, there's a part of him, and especially if he's a self-destructive addict who is destroying himself. And as somebody who's had an addiction, I understand both sides of addiction. I know what a nightmare it's like to live with one and be that self-destructive, self-hating, and selfish and harmful to people around you. And also on the other end of it, of watching someone in addiction and dealing with people in addictions. I know this work very well. I know, so don't think I'm being not compassionate here. But under patriarchy, when you deal with men and you tie your life to men who are addicts, you are so much more vulnerable. You will pay the price for that man's addiction. Because patriarchy will force you into the mother mode. If you're not questioning at all, it will force you. Your own conditioning will force you into mothering this man, right? And so this guy had a serious addiction, wasn't dealing with it. I'm going to go into that in a second. I'm going to go into the Rolling Stones interview. He's lonely, and then he meets this queen, right? She's at the top of her game. She just won an Oscar, but she doesn't have a man, right? Because her own conditioning and whatever happened in her family, because it sounds like, I don't know much about her parents, but I'm hearing things about dad. He ended up with Tom, Scientology, like that. Whoa. Anyway, here he is, a self-destructive addict who's, kind of starting to make it, but no one really knows who he is. I'm sorry, I don't care. All the people from Australia are like, sorry, we didn't know who he was in the United States. I'm from Nashville. I never heard of this dude till he got with her. So if he could catch someone like one of the most high, has achieved everything but a Tony, I think. She's gotten all the other things, right? I don't know, maybe a Grammy, whatever. All I know is that she has so much money and has the Oscar. And he's probably thinking, what is she doing with a loser like me? So much so that she had a crush on him and he didn't call her for 4 months because he was probably thinking, what the hell's wrong with her? They will punish you for liking them more than they like themselves. But because we've been conditioned to be a mommy, mommy, mommy to all the king babies out there, and if they have an addiction, which means they really can't take care of themselves and they desperately need a man manager, thank you Rose Hackman for that term in the book Emotional Labor. Love this book, Emotional Labor, life-changing book. We're the man managers, and if you grew up in a house with addictions and you were a caretaker and a parentified child or whatever, perfect. I could just repeat cycles of trauma all over again, but with a husband instead of dad who was always drunk, or mom, or whoever. And maybe we could co-parent together where I not only have babies that are his, but now I got a big baby too. And I got to keep him sober. That is a full-time job. And he's sitting here thinking like, well, maybe I am great. Maybe I am great. And she became his addiction. Let's take a look at this interview because this says so much. These are the red flags. And I'm telling you, just because a man loves you up and down, that is not necessarily a green flag. If this man does not truly have confidence, not cockiness, if he's not doing all this stuff to actually show that he's a confident man, that he's worked on himself, that he is solid, you're forked. You're forked. Because all that lovey is going to disappear one day. Or a lot of times he's literally just doing it because that's what's going to get you hooked on him. And then when you have 2 kids with them, great. Now you're linked forever. Like I said in my video yesterday, please watch it if you haven't because I go deep into a lot of this stuff. Nicole said herself, it's dangerous. When you commit to someone like that, you live and you die by that decision. And this was his first relationship that was good. Before he met Kidman, he said that he wasn't good at relationships. Wow, shocker. Well, he was a crackhead and a cokehead and an alcoholic. And it was apparently, according to whatever, rumor has it, he's a big party animal. And even in his own words, which I'll show you in a minute, he wasn't like, he's barely sober, in and out. He'd been to rehab before. So yeah, when addicts are not good at relationships because we are navel-gazing, self-destructive, self-hating. And it is a disease, but if we do not get treatment for that, and there's lots of different ways to do that, when we get romantically involved, we burn the whole house down, whoever's in it with us. And especially if you're a man with patriarchal power. And then if you're a woman who's patriarchal conditioned to just, self-abandon, save the baby. He's your baby, but you also have to fork him too. That's so weird how we mother men, but whatever. That's what we were taught to do. But he even said himself, he wrote all these songs about love and relationships, and he's writing for all these places, the kind of a person that he wished he could be. The only thing that changed my life is that I've more so become the person I was trying to be. Their whole mantra, they said, was there's nothing to hide and everything to protect, which is weird because she burned all her diaries. She had a lot to hide. She did I already covered this yesterday. If you're curious, I will link that video on the tube. I can't do it on TikTok. I don't know if she thought he was going to read them or what, but you're only going to find bad things. That's loaded. Okay. Well, anyway. So this man can serenade you all he wants on Christmas. Of course, this was a Christmas later on. One of their second Christmas together, he was in rehab already. This guy seemed to do a lot of grand gestures. I honestly think he built his brand on being her husband. He became very popular once he hooked up with her. But he do all the his whole personality was about being, I swear to God, this is just like that Five Guys whatever. Is it Five Guys or what? Try Guys? Oh my God, Five Guys is a burger thing. Let me know if you want that video because I actually researched that. And then it went into my list of all the things that I want to talk about. Don't have time to talk about. Right? Five Guys, Try Guys or something in my comments if you want. But any man who makes his whole personality, his whole albums, all of his whatever about just loving and loving, being a wifey guy, a dad, end up like that rock singer who had the Foo Fighters dude. I did a whole video on that last year. Hey, screw you every time. Like, you will never convince me that this man didn't make money off of their love. And she fell for it. You know, and I get it. I'm like, I understand women who want to post about their husbands so much. And, you know, like seeing Selena Gomez's pictures from her wedding, I'm like, well, she finally got that photo. I hope that man doesn't humiliate her, because we know when most men cannot handle the ego of being with someone that popular and that successful. I'm not saying not all men. I know men who can handle it. I'm married to a man who's very confident and can handle my success as one of my biggest fans. And if at any point I feel like that changes and he's threatened by it or is trying to sabotage my career, I will leave. And one reason why that's easy for me to say is because I've been doing this for a long time and my work is about me. My work will always be about me. And I sprinkle in parts of my life into it. But when a man makes his entire personality about how much he loves his wife, I'm always like, because you know how many women are probably DMing that man or writing in his comments like, oh my God, King, do you think men can handle that? Most cannot. They're like, oh my God. Like that Ashley Madison thing. I did that breakdown like a couple years ago. That dude was the worst. He became a good husband. Dr. Cecilia Regina has talked about this a lot too. That man became the worst once he had all these female followers that were like, oh my God, you're such a good dad. You're such a good husband. It's all performative. So any man that makes his whole personality about like his love story, he is using her usually. And even if he's not, if he does not know how to deal with his ego, he will absolutely start to believe what all the women are saying in his comments, because we're used to such crap. The bar is so low if he's loving her at all. Oh, he bought flowers. Oh my God, King. We hype up these men. We build their platforms even if they're terrible to their partners, because they profit off of our hope, off of our indoctrination, off of our disappointment in all the other men. And then we pay a price if we make our personality, if we bring them into the more we bring them into our social like platform stuff, the more vulnerable we are. And like I mentioned yesterday, Ms. Aisha, we did an amazing interview on the Risk podcast. I'll try to remember to do that. And also on my Patreon, I interviewed her. We had a great on my Patreon interview about this where I understood what my ex had done to me. And he used social media and the pressure of that and looking like a fool to keep me. I don't like to show most people in general in my public in public. I don't talk about it on my big platforms, and on my smaller platforms, I show Anthony because he's public record. I don't show his family. I don't show my family, and I only show friends that have agreed to that. But I never tag anybody, right? And I show him. He doesn't seem to care, but he doesn't also know either, so maybe I shouldn't show him. I don't know. But any man who's doing all this, look at this! He debuts clips from their wedding during his Vegas concert. Now, this was only a couple years ago. And you got her saying stuff like she's so lucky. Don't ever let these men think they're lucky to be with you. Even if you feel lucky. Don't say this stuff much. They'll know by the way you love them. If you're just professing how lucky you are that you got picked by this loser who is like not at your level, he would probably be dead from addiction or definitely not successful because of his addiction, because he's even said himself, she opened him up creatively. She had a hand in everything he did creatively. So if you love his albums, she had a hand in it. Not only did he exploit their love story, she had a hand in it. I'll show you in a minute. I swear to God, there's something about men that if they get too comfortable, if white men especially, they get too comfortable in a relationship, they start sabotaging it because they feel they're so things are given to them compared to everyone else so easily, even if they work their ass off and have had an enormous amount of trauma and systemically and relationally. They have been promised the world. So if you're like, I'm so lucky to be with this man. If if they hate themselves, there's a part of them is like, but I don't really deserve this. What's wrong with her? And then that ego part is like, yeah! Oh my God, I'm about to show my boob. Ha! Yeah, I deserve it! If he does these grand gestures, like all of these, have you seen all the headlines? I have them in all these pictures, but there's a whole headlines being like, the adorable gesture, the sweet thing that Keith did for when she was pregnant. Oh, he was out on tour, and wow, he flew all the way back to be there for what? For the, not sonogram, what's that thing with the jelly and the belly and blah, blah, blah. Not the one where they stick that thing up you and blah, like that. I didn't know that was one way they did it, but they should give a trigger warning before they send you to those. But you know, the thing where you see the baby in the picture, right? Wow, he flew all the way 10 hours to be there for her. Okay, like that's great. But did he do anything else? Like, she shared this one story, but like, I don't know if he was on tour the whole time or just gone all the time and he flew. Yeah, he better fly back for that appointment. But when you give men so much credit for these little gestures, if they hate themselves, they take that credit. And look, People magazine wrote a whole article about what a great dad I am for flying in for one appointment. He's probably drinking the whole way on the plane ride there and back, or texting that girl in Nashville that he was allegedly maybe cheating with when they first were dating and engaged. Who knows? I'd be really curious to see if he gets this payout, because she had to pay him to stay sober in their prenup. If she can prove that he was not sober at all, maybe she won't have to pay. I don't know. I'm just saying, even the healthiest man can struggle with this much credit and attention for what? What? He supports her by what? Going to her dad's funeral? Well, he should be there. Oh, he sings a song? He does a concert at it? I'm not impressed. I mean, yeah, maybe that was cute and all, but I think I would rather you be sitting next to me than doing a concert at my dad's funeral. Apparently this dad was, I don't know. I still don't know where to find this information, but the people in Australia have been telling me, ones who don't hate me for talking this crap, and telling me that her dad was, I don't know. But this is what the media does too. No, this isn't her fault that the media was doing all this, being like, look, he went to his wife's funeral for her dad. He went to a doctor appointment. Flew really far for a doctor appointment. Okay, but was he changing diapers? Like, what else did he do? Honestly, I don't want to know. I just wish that people would be more like Margot Robbie and just not tell us. I don't want to know. I don't want to know, because the more we know, the more I start to worry about that woman in that relationship, because so few men can handle this amount of praise for doing the bare minimum. And if they also sell albums because they're such a great husband and love their wife so much, God, you are like, it's not good usually, as we're seeing. And then they'll do stuff like this. The more they feel like they don't deserve you, but also are like, but maybe I deserve better because all these women think I'm amazing, they will start to humiliate you. Look at this. And his album, Graffiti You? What a dumb name. It's all about Kidman. Oh, great, he wrote a whole album about, I would hate that. I don't want you talking about me. I definitely don't want you talking to all these women who are like, oh my God. And these women are in my comments screaming at me because he's a nice man. I went to one of his concerts. A lady literally said that. Leave him alone. He was a nice man. I know. I went to one of his concerts. What? He's got all these women probably sending him message, writing things in his comments, right? So then they start getting a little cocky. She's a maniac in the bed, but a brainiac in the head. When she appeared on this Australian radio show, the host asked her about these videos. She said, I don't censor his art if I can be amused for it. It is embarrassing, but at the same time, yes, it's better than saying, God, I'm so bored. Make an effort, Nicole. As if those are the two options. I'm sorry. I'd rather you say nothing. But if those are the options, he writes a whole song about, God, I'm bored with Nicole. Make an effort, you stupid cunt. Or, she's a freak, a maniac in the bed. Like, don't talk about her at all. How about you not talk about how she is in bed at all? I mean, she's admitted that she was, like, embarrassed. She was his muse for his line. When someone brought up the lyrics, they said, he also says you wake up in the middle of the night to get your freak on. Which is not what he said. Apparently he says she'll wake you up to make love in the middle of the night. So this host kind of sucked. And she got all embarrassed. Shut up, you're making that up. No, I'm reading it here. So she had to I'm not answering that. That's outrageous. Who put her in this position? The host is being inappropriate. Who put her in a position to even have to ask this question? Even during that Christmas song, he's all like, we can be naughty or nice. Now, she did not like to sing, but he even dragged her up on stage. And here's the thing. This is why I think his ego got way too big for her, even though, he's still self-destructive. He catered to these women in the audience. I'm going to show you a second example in a second, but look at this. So a woman in the audience said, play it. Naturally, it was Kidman who was gently coerced to come on stage and perform the song with him. I'm so embarrassed, she exclaimed. You did it, though. I love that. This man knew she hated this. I'll show you that in a second in his interview. But I'm gonna show you now, actually, so I don't forget. In the Rolling Stones interview, they said, will you and Nicole ever duet on one of your records? That's not really her thing. She's not comfortable doing it. But, one of his fangirls wanted him to bring her on, so he was like, come on. She got coerced into going on stage and doing it. She also moved to Nashville. I'm sorry, but you work in LA, maybe New York. You're from Australia. There is no reason to be in Nashville, Tennessee. I love Nashville, but there's no reason for this woman to be in Nashville. But, she relocated there, never moved for a man. I'm going to show you, here's another example of him catering to these female fans in his audience. He's at a sold-out crowd in Los Angeles. Oh, and by the way, he has Nicole tattooed on his up. See, all these grand gestures that are for us. You know what? If he does those for you, that's why a proposal, I don't give a crap about that stuff. Some women don't. But a lot of women want a really romantic proposal. But if that proposal is all about him, that's why I hate those Jumbotron proposals. She can't say no, bro. Unless she really wants a public proposal and you know her well enough. These grand gestures that are in front of a giant audience are never about her. They're about him. Looking like a romantic guy and all these women being like, oh, you don't think they'd get off on that? Midway through the show, a fan held up a sign that read, Keith, you can kiss my wife if I can kiss yours, in all caps. So he took the sign and read it out loud. Then he handed it to his daughters in the audience. Then he descended in the crowd, planted a kiss on the woman's cheek, and told her husband, I'm not sure how you're going to get your part of the bargain, brother. Oh, the crowd erupted into laughter. I'm laughing because I think this is crazy, not funny. So he kisses another woman. Why are you a cuck? Is this cucks? Anyway. He kisses a woman on the cheek because oh, gross. A man wrote a sign in all caps. Take my wife if I can have yours. Don't you think that made him feel bad? Because he's like, damn it. Even in this show that's my sold out show, this man respects my wife more than me. So yeah, he went and kissed his wife. And why not do it in front of your daughters? And then he wrote, and then he introduced this song. Got it right this time by saying, my wife couldn't be here tonight, but this song is dedicated to her because I wouldn't be here if it weren't for that woman. Well, we know that. Why not kiss another woman to please a man who's reminding you that she's more important than you, to show gratitude for her, the woman who saved you. Not only did she save you, she always liked you more than you liked her. Because again, this to me is one of the biggest red flags. She wanted him more than he wanted her from the start. That never goes well. He sang her a serenade at 5 a.m. on her stoop in New York. What the hell he's doing at 5 a.m.? Who knows? But it was intense. That's not a good sign. Butterflies, intense, dangerous, like she said before. Love of my life. I swear that's always women's last, it's as soon as we say he's the love of my life, you're forked. He's going to go. I'm not for real. But something about them thinking that you're in it for the long haul. You are that boat out at sea forever. You're going to die trying to save this marriage. Literally all the headlines is that she's trying to save the marriage. How humiliating. They're all framing it that she's trying to save the marriage that he clearly doesn't want. This could be true or not true, but the media is always going to humiliate her. And again, she had a crush on him. He wasn't interested in me. It's true. She literally said this on Ellen DeGeneres' show. He didn't call me for 4 months. And even Ellen thought that was weird. I don't know. It seems like he didn't like you. That you would stay with him is weird. I hate that they have me agreeing with Ellen. But he was in awe of her. The way he talks about her. Let's look at the way he talked about her. He idolized her. He thought she was perfect. No, he worshiped her. She saved him. That never ends well for you. This man can't see you because he can only see you as what you've done for him. And if he thinks you're better than him, he will punish you because he hates himself. And he's like, what the hell is wrong with you? Surely you know what a bad person I am. Let me show you. Will you still love me then? They start testing. Look about how he talks about her when they first met, when he was making this album. We shot this over in England where Nick was doing something at the time. I think we were mixing the album to coincide with her being there. I wasn't in any recovery program of any sort. I wasn't in a, which again, you shouldn't be talking about that anyway. Google it. Celebs are not supposed to talk about this. Not supposed to be spokesmen, but whatever. I didn't have a sponsor. I didn't have anything. He was like, well, I was like, kind of a loser. Because again, before I move on, he'd already been to rehab in 1998. Living out of a van, traveling around doing music, forked up all the time. So he's still like not at the height of his career by any means. He meets her, is like not drinking, but not really working hard to not drink. According to him, not drinking. According to the girl that he was hooking up with and like dating the whole time, allegedly. Oh, he was annihilated all the time. Let me know if you want that video because it's a whole separate one. I don't have time in this one to cover that. And I also don't know if it's true. So I don't know if I want to talk about gossip, but her account is crazy. So I didn't have anything. Meeting Nick and falling in love with Nick and starting a relationship with Nick became, well, I realize in hindsight, my sobriety. Meeting her, falling in love with her became his sobriety. Bad! That was how I was able to keep it together. So basically, she became his 12-step meetings, I guess, his sponsor, his everything. That is a setup for resentment, you becoming his mother, his manager, his everything. And he will hate you for it. Even the interviewer was like, so you just traded addictions, huh? Yeah, and I didn't realize it until when she would go away, I would find myself feeling very alone, very lost, and vulnerable to my old way. Uh-oh! Nicole is his life support. Without her, he can't breathe, he can't function, he's a mess. Terrible way to start a relationship. She really wanted to have kids with this man. And she did. This was her own work she needs to be doing. She had taken a trip to Kosovo. It was during that trip that the whole part of my world came back in and swamped me. And I remember just feeling so terrified. And we had just gotten married, and this entity in my life is coming just to crush and kill everything I've got. So someone else might call this taking the mask off. It's very well possible that he could have been hiding a lot of this, Oh yeah, lying about it. Yeah, I got recovery. I used to be, they always say, I used to have a problem with alcohol. I used to have a problem with drugs. Do not ever believe them. Watch them. And if they seem like a dry drunk, if they seem lost without, if you become their new addiction, run! So he was struggling with his voice. He was struggling with everything. I was putting on a good front. And when I see that picture on the album, I just think, whoa, I can see it in my eye. He could see it in his eyes, but she couldn't, apparently. So this album came out while he was in rehab for 3 months, which started 4 months after they got married. They got married pretty quickly. When you have this much money and such a big career as Nicole did, to get married that quickly is a huge liability. You don't even know this man, and y'all are separated a lot. She did the intervention, and clearly she knew this was going to be an issue. That there was a part of her, thank God she listened to her intuition. There was a part of her that felt like maybe his recovery wasn't that solid. But rather than being like, maybe this isn't a good father of my children, partner, husband, he thought, well, if I just write in the clause that he won't get any of my money if he doesn't stay sober, then that'll keep him sober. No. So they had an intervention with her and some of his friends, and off he went. Now he says a tight group of friends, but then he also says no one's ever known him. So even his friends didn't know him. He doesn't know him. That's what addictions do. I'm including relationship addictions too, which it seems like she may have. You're so focused on a substance or a person or a compulsive behavior that you have an active chronic addiction to it. You do not know yourself because all you're doing is escaping. Everything is about that thing. And then you end up in a relationship where you have to see each other all the time. How's the longest you go without seeing each other? The most is 5 days, but we Skype and we talk on the phone several. That sounds exhausting. I would hate this. I don't want to talk to anyone that much. And then he, again, talks about her like this. You seem happy together. I have a wife who's just from another planet. That's dehumanizing. That is dehumanizing language. She is just celestial. Oh my God, look at this. I say that I was born into her. Oh God. Wah, 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 wah. Like, oh my God. Oh my God. Hey, look. Hey, want some more? That is the best way I can describe how I feel about her and us. She's my mother, and she gave birth to me. I came out of her vaginal wall. Ah. There's like, what does that mean? I love this follow-up question. I mean, it means that I felt like I was just sitting dormant, and she came along, and I came to life. I was just dead, and she woke me up. I was born into her, so who I am now was waiting the whole time. I was just a little baby. I was just a little fetus in her uterus. And then she birthed me as a man, as an artist, as a dad, as the hot man with crazy straight flat iron hair who can pull any chick. Just hold up a sign and tell me, and I'll get this bitch to do anything, even do a duet with me, because I'm the prize. But I hate myself. I don't deserve it, but I'm the prize. When they ask, how does Nicole influence you? Oh, she does all this. I mean, he does say a lot of really great stuff about her. You know, pause to read this if you want. And I love that she doesn't have this people pleasing, so that's great. She doesn't have that level of codependency, but definitely like on the pick-me spectrum, like every woman under patriarchy is conditioned to be. She doesn't mind failing at stuff. See, that's actually what happens a lot with women, is because we don't have the luxury of just failing and just sitting on our ass and doing nothing. Like usually like the less comfortable, and the more privileged your life is, you can either do that for good, or you can take it as like, oh no, I don't want to do anything because I haven't had to like work hard for anything. I've heard this a lot from men who like want to be artists. I'm like, what? How on earth could you have imposter syndrome? You have nothing to lose. Oh, right. You're not used to rejection and losing and surviving on the same level because you don't have to deal with like men trying to harm you in public and in your home. Not on the same level. Unless, of course, you are a black man, indigenous man, another man of color. He also talks about how he's still kind of a self-pitying king baby. And this is a while ago, okay? I do appreciate this kind of like honesty, but you wouldn't catch Nicole saying stuff like this because she doesn't have the luxury of just being like, yeah, I can still walk around in my shit-filled diaper and not want to have it. It changed. Because women do not ever expect a man to change our diapers. Like, he's literally talking like a king baby. Much less now than ever before. You know, I wish I was more enlightened, but I'm trying. But that's the thing, like, you know, it's like, you know what? If he had actually gotten recovery before he met her, this may have worked out. If she had worked on her own codependency or whatever is going on here, this may have worked out. Maybe they would have been good for each other. But she is like, mommy, save him. And he's like, king baby, I'm not ready. I don't even know myself. And some days he just wants to sit on his couch and do nothing for days. Apparently his band members and his team are like, dude, you got to work. And he's just like, y'all go to hell. I'm not doing nothing. Has Nicole ever had a day off? This is so common of codependent women. Never rest. Never. That woman never seems to rest. She's parenting. She's parenting this dude too. And then she's always working. Like, this has been kind of talk for a while. It's like, damn, does she ever just not work? She is just in thing after thing after thing after thing. It's not like she's like an actor who's like, I got to keep working in case I become irrelevant. She could do anything she wanted and she just doesn't stop. He did admit that whenever his instinct, and I can relate to this, I'm still like this. I've learned to not do this. I have to like regulate my nervous system. This is what I want to do, but I make myself face conflict now. It's whenever he's confronted, he goes into competitiveness and screw you and goes the other way. I don't know. I'm not sure he's actually unlearned that because But to his credit, he knows that this is wrong and he's been working on it. So I don't want to just be like, oh my God, he sucks or whatever. I'm just saying they are both sick, okay? And I don't even know them. I don't care. I'm just basing on all this information they've given us. And the reason why I talk about this, and just in case people don't understand, because they seem to not understand, I don't care about this couple. I'm trying to help us see ourselves and them. Because celebrity and are like a microcosm of what everyone else is dealing with, except they have like way more power and money and like all this other crap. The woman who has an Oscar is still like, but I don't know, I need a man. How relatable is that? Like, at what point will the pick-me-ism not be there unless we work really hard to get rid of it? He's even admitted that he doesn't even know who he is off stage. He's trying to get to know that guy, get comfortable with him. I'm glad he has that self-awareness, but that's another reason, like if you are an active addiction, including relationship addiction, which codependent women do, and this is why we like literally need to stop dating if we catch ourselves in this. We don't know who we are because we always have a crisis. And this is why a lot of us find it's like, why do I keep ending up with these men? I'm not saying this to victim blame. I'm just saying it is all we know. We don't know what to do without like a problem to solve, a crisis, a man to save, a man to help, because that's what we've been taught in every possible way through media, through maybe our family, through our friends, through books, like everything. So we're just doing what seems what you do. So then you end up with a man who can't stay sober without you, but literally can't even create art without you. In one of his speeches, he said, I want to say a massive thank you to my wife, Nicole. You have no idea how much of what I do, she's involved in every little piece of it. Every piece of it. So if you love his work, she's probably behind it. But what about her work? How much do you think he's involved in any of these TV shows or movies that she's done? Like, seems like she is working his job as much as he is. She hates me saying this, but I want it to be said. She helps me so much making these videos what they are. Oh, great. Is she the production designer, the line producer, and everything else too? Because she's already not doing enough, that's for sure. So I want to end on this quote because, again, this is a terrible place to be dating from. I'm the woman who wrote Men Have No Friends and Women Bear the Burden for Harper's Bazaar. It went viral in 2009. No, 19, sorry. Super viral. All about men who don't have friends end up ruining women's lives. She's my best friend. I've never had anybody on the planet that knows me as she does. This is not uncommon for men. Now, granted, you are going to know someone on a deeper level when you're romantically involved, but if you don't have a friend who knows you as well as your partner in terms of everything other than sexual stuff, please don't date. Don't date. You will get lost in this because the hormones, patriarchal conditioning, finances, children, all that stuff's going to make it all screwy. This is important. I would love to have been worthy of somebody like Nick, but I was a long way from it when we met. Oh, God. Somehow we just found there was love there, real love. I literally just feel like the luckiest guy on the planet. Yeah, you are. Why did you luck out? But then you forgot. You forgot that you're lucky. And now you think you earned all this and you're entitled to all this. And you made your whole brand off of being chosen by this queen. And like so many men, it got to your head. And then you started to think, I hate myself, but I deserve this. If he doesn't think he's worthy of your love, he's not. He's going to punish you. I hope she stays single for a while. I hope that she's surrounded by friends, family, community, whoever that helps her get through this. Because this is humiliating for women. Even if it's a win, the way society will judge her more than they'll ever judge him, punish her more than they will ever punish him. That's a fact. She will be okay because she is so good at her career, but please do not ever fold a man into your career and your identity on this level. Because I even learned the hard way. I used to talk more about Anthony and I got scared of how women talked about him in my comments or to him in my comments. Putting him up on this pedestal, I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. No, we're not doing that here. Not you centering a man on my page who's not even a part of my page. I literally just mentioned him. So it usually does not turn out good for women. No, and it's hard to not be like, oh my God, I just want to talk about how much I love this person. Most men will punish you for that, especially if they hate themselves. And even if you have the most confident men, just don't do it, because all these women are going to be talking to you like they do to me. You don't deserve him. Excuse me? Get the fuck off my page. Anyway, let me know what y'all think. Like, comment, share, boost. If you like my work, please follow my Patreon. That's where I share more personal stuff because a lot of women are crazy and I don't want to hear their comments. But a lot of men are even crazier and I don't like being on that side of the incel internet. We have a lot of fun over on Patreon and France content, travel content, community building, friend making, lives, interviews, watch parties. I do hangouts on Zoom, all kinds of stuff. Let me know if you heard that. Comments on. Baby girl, what you doing with that loser? With the tattoo hands and fingers and the ironed hair. What the hell? You're a baby, wants a mama to birth you, and you're a career. Neck tattoos, yuck, holding you like you're gonna lose your life if you don't have her. Holding you down cause you're gonna, short man. Little short king, but he hates himself. That's good, you wear those heels, Nicole, with the big house. And the king baby, oh look, he's got some awards now. The iron hair, he needs you so bad, y'all. Hugging each other cause you can't be alone. Look, tattoo hands, look, iron hair, tattoo hands. You did it later cause you never had the tattoo hands. Selena, girl, please don't let this man humiliate you just for this picture. Taylor, I'm sorry, but he's got the shock out. One in the pink, other in the stink. Look at this guy, these men will humiliate you. When you get married in your late 30s, I don't know, they're just big losers with the bucket hats. You're better off all alone, cause you're a baddie. Look at you, bitch.